Well, good morning, everyone. We're ready to kick this thing off and get going this morning. Thank you so much for being with us. We appreciate it. We're glad you could join us today for this year's version of the State of the City County. We're going to have a little bit different format this morning, and we're looking forward to that. My name is Terry Harbin. I serve as the chairman of the board for the Mobile Area Chamber of Commerce. And on behalf of the Chamber, I'd like to share our appreciation, not only for you being here this morning, but for your support of the Chamber as well, and especially for this event, your support of our elected officials for the city and the county. We appreciate what you guys do. We know it's a sacrifice, and you guys are doing a terrific job, and we thank you for that. Today's program, by the way, we don't have a printed program, but there is a QR code on your table, so I guess we're fully into the 21st century now, and no programs, maybe because of COVID, but the QR code is there if you'd like to follow along. As I mentioned, our format today is going to be a little bit different. Bob Chappelle will tell you a little bit more about that. We're going to do a bit of an interview format this morning, and looking forward to that as we hear from the mayor and our county commissioners. Before I do a couple of introductions, let's start by thanking our sponsors. This event would not be possible without our sponsors, and today that is Mobile Area Water and Sewer, APM Terminals, Express Employment Professionals, the Mobile Airport Authority, Austal, Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Alabama, Spire Business, Infirmary Health, McFadden Engineering, Mitsubishi Polysilicon, Spire, CRE Mobile, Leavell Investment Management, and the Orthopaedic Group. We'll do a little more formal introduction of the mayor, and then the county commissioners will all be on stage in just a minute. But let me go on and introduce our city council folks that are with us this morning as well. If you're with us and I call your name, please just stand and we'll have a round of applause at the end. Current president of the city council, Councilman C.J. Small. District 1 is Corey Penn. District 2, William Carroll. District 4, CJ of course represents District 3, but District 4 is Ben Reynolds. District 5, Joel Daves. District 6, Scott Jones. District 7, Gina Gregory. Let's give both our sponsors and these commissioners a round of applause. At this time, I'm going to invite Bob Chappelle, who is serving as our interim president and CEO for the Mobile Chamber, to the podium to lead us in the pledge and an invocation. Bob?
Thank you, Terry. Good morning, everybody. We'll get started with the word of prayer. If you all would please bow your heads. Let us pray. Father, we're grateful for this day and for your many blessings on our community, blessings of elected leaders who are willing to serve, blessings of the many servant leaders that are here today and throughout our community making it a better place to live and work and play, and blessings, Father, of the first responders who help us through times of crisis. We ask, Father, that you would bless this food, the nourishment of our bodies, and us to your service. Amen. And now, if you all would please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Terry mentioned the format this year was a new one for us. Not only are we here for breakfast rather than noon, but we're turning it into more of a conversation. And we're excited to have Peter Albrecht with us this morning to help facilitate that conversation with first the mayor and then our three county commissioners. You all know Peter. He's been in news, serving as a reporter and an anchor in this community for nearly 25 years. Now at WKRG News 5. Peter's covered everything that's impacted life in our part of the world, from Mardi Gras to hurricanes to the state legislature, City Hall. He's covered it all, and we've enjoyed his work. His work has been recognized in many ways by the Associated Press, press clubs in Mobile and Pensacola, the U.S. Department of Defense, Medical Association, Mobile Bay Monthly, Lanyap, the list goes on. So he's an excellent one to help facilitate this conversation. This morning, we're very glad to have Peter. Peter, if you would begin working your way up here, and I'll ask you all to help welcome Peter to the stage.
Good morning, everyone. Glad to be here today. Thanks, Bob, and thanks, Chamber. I did work for the county for a number of years, for 5 years, and so I was involved in trying to organize this event, and so I know how much goes into it. So congratulations and thanks to the staff of the mayor and the city and the commissioners and the county as well as the chamber. So we're going to have kind of a little conversation here today, as Bob mentioned, rather than some of the different ways that we've told you about what's going on in the city, county in past years. So at this time, I'd like to invite Mayor Sandy Stimpson to come to the stage. Mayor Stimpson, now 3 months in to his third term as mayor. All right, Mayor, nice to have you here. We're excited to hear about what we've accomplished in the city over the last year and also looking ahead to your next 3+ years in office. And I know you have a 1,000-day framework that you've talked about and a 100-day agenda. Can you just tell us about that and kind of highlight some of the things that you're pleased about?
So thank you, Peter, for the introduction. And I'll say, before I do that, let me do one other thing, and that's tell everybody here and really the citizens of Mobile, the state of the city is very good, but we have an opportunity to really be very, very, very good or great. And the reason is because of so many of you, but the collaboration that's going on right now between various governmental entities. The city council, it's been a long time since you've had 4 new city councilors come to the table. As a matter of fact, I don't know when the last time that occurred, but I can tell you they've come with a lot of new ideas, enthusiasm, and under the leadership of C.J. Small, who set a record at yesterday's city council meeting for the shortest city council meeting in the history of the city. So thank you, Councilman Small. So I am very
excited. We have a round of applause for that.
I'm very excited, and the citizens should be, because we'll get more business done. Peter, I'm going to get to the 1,000-day in just a second, but you know, I've made some notes because I wanted to point out a few things that we have gotten accomplished. And I say we, and it's really a we, because it's so many of the city employees that really make this happen. And before I go into that list, I would ask all the city employees to please stand, those that are here, and give them a big round of applause. Yep. Please stand. Yep. So it was 1 year ago today that Governor Ivey came to explain what she had done, gifting the city the finances needed to buy Brooklyn by the Bay. And I think from an exciting standpoint of what can be in the future, what's going to happen with that piece of property, it's right at the top of the list. Some of the other things that we accomplished was thanks to the school board and the relationship that we've developed there. They sold us the Maynes property, and so we'll have the first housing development inside I-65 in over probably about 2.5 decades, which we're very excited about that. On another note, in kind of an area of public safety, we've worked with state delegation and the state leadership in Montgomery to pass a NIAS law, which gives judges a new tool where they don't have to let out violent criminals on the street without bond. You know, right now they cannot hold them indefinitely. They have to give them bond, and so that's a big step in the right direction. And during COVID, you know, what happened with our partnership with USA Health, taking the Civic Center and the drive-through, I mean, it was kind of unprecedented. I mean, we had recognition from the White House about the effectiveness and efficiency and the production there, as well as the governor's office. So kudos to the team at USA Health that, you know, that made that happen. Another thing is that we explained to everybody about the Courtyard Hall of Fame with our baseball Hall of Famers. Actually, here in the next couple of weeks, you'll see some mock-ups of the statuary from those who have submitted proposals to do those statues. It'll be for public view, and really in the next few weeks, you'll hear a whole lot more about what's going to happen at Cooper Riverside Park. And what's going on in Parks and Rec is amazing. I mean, who thought we'd be roller skating around Bienville Square? Have you roller skated around Bienville Square?
I did not, but maybe I need to do it.
If I do, will you?
I'll do it.
All right. Y'all heard it. We'll see if we can make that happen. But this past weekend we had a block party, an Iron Bowl block party. And so the point is that, we're having an opportunity to give Mobians something to enjoy that they haven't experienced in the past. Then we had a little interruption during the year, a thing called an election, but we told everybody that we were not done yet. And that was the truth. And we're not done yet. But that gets us to the 1,000-day framework and the 100-day plan. And that is as we started taking all the things that we've learned over the last 8 years, what are the things that are left undone? What are the things that we can do better? And so we started whiteboarding it all over the walls. I mean, there's just so many things that need to be done. And we realized that we really couldn't do that, by ourselves, that it was going to take divine intervention and a lot of collaboration from our partners to do it. We extracted the 100-day plan, and that's what I think everybody is aware of now. And actually, if you're not, you should have been given a card when you came in. On that card is a QR code, and you can take a picture of it, and then you can go and ask questions about the 100-day plan or the 1,000-day framework, or give us suggestions. So yes, Peter, the state of the city is exciting, and I'm excited about another 4 years.
And I know, Mayor, that you've kind of categorized some different areas, and you have goals in these different areas in terms of protect, grow, hire, connect, and enjoy Mobile. Let's start with protect Mobile. Can you tell us about your plans for improving public safety?
So recently we announced a new police chief. So we have new leadership in the police department, and with new leadership comes new ideas and new opportunities of maybe things that, matter of fact, where we know that we can do some things better. I'm real excited about the staff, the leadership team that he has put together, and he has already, through a couple of interviews, explained things that we'll be doing differently. The biggest challenge that we have, though, really has to do with the attrition in the police department. All across America, cities are having challenges with keeping policemen, and a lot of it has to do with just the public pressure. So my charge to you, or my request of you, is if you see a policeman, tell them how much you appreciate what they're doing. If you're at lunch with them, buy their lunch, or if you bump into them and can give them a Christmas present, because I can tell you, without our policemen doing the things they're doing, we cannot accomplish what needs to be done to protect our citizens. So where we find ourselves today is that with new leadership addressing, we're doing specific things, very specific things to address the attrition, but also we know that we've got to have more community involvement. And I'm real excited about the Faith in Action group that will work with the police department and the community to help us do a better job of collaboration with the community. But if you think about this, in the area of policing, a lot of what we find out is through relationships. And those relationships are between the policeman and someone in the community. Well, when you have a lot of turnover in the police department, it's hard to build some of those relationships. So you go through a period of taking new officers and them learning the community, but that is something that's on the foremost in the foremost part of the mind of the chief, and we'll make sure that we continue to do that. But also from a recruiting standpoint, we've only been able to handle like 2 classes a year of policemen. Well, knowing that we needed to do something differently, we now have 3 classes of policemen that come through. Actually, that just started right now, and I think it's either today or tomorrow, be going to a promotion ceremony for all of the new leadership in the police department. In the area of fire protection, I think everyone in here knows that we are an ISO 1 city. We've made a big deal about it because it is a big deal. But we also continue to invest in facilities for the fire department. We've just broke ground on a new training center so that we can, during our recruiting and training, we can make sure they get the very best training that's possible. In addition to being recertified for their ISO 1 rating, which is going on right now. One thing that they're doing is trying to be an accredited fire department. And so if you think about this, there's like 44,000 fire districts in the United States. And there's only 350 or 60 that are ISO 1. But there's only like less than 50 that are ISO 1 and accredited. And so the leadership of the fire department is trying to achieve both of those, which would be a huge benefit to our citizens. But you can rest assured if you call 911 and the fire department's on the way, that, you know, really they're among the best in the nation, which is something that you should be proud of. I want to flip back and talk about the policing area. For decades, we've all known that and heard the terminology about revolving door in the courthouse. And so right now we will continue to work and do things to work with our judges, I'm going to say at the municipal level and the circuit level, for us to try to increase the number of trials that we're having for criminal offenses. I mean, we can arrest people, but if we can't process them through the court system, then really it's almost to no avail. And so we're excited about some opportunities that are presenting themselves to do a better job addressing the judicial part of public safety.
Very good. Okay, let's talk about Grow Mobile. We all want Mobile to become the largest city in the state, to attain more than 200,000 residents, and I know you have a kind of a two avenues here how you'd like to accomplish this through attainable housing and annexation. Talk about those two things, please.
So the 200,000 is a magic number, and it has a lot to do with the grants that are available to cities. And as you fill out a federal grant, there's a box that you check and saying whether you're over 200,000. And if you are, then you're eligible for more money. So this was talked about during the last annexation conversation, and really it was just kind of passed over like it wasn't important. Well, nobody could predict the future of how important it really was going to be, and so if you look back at what has happened with the distribution of the ARP, or the ARPA funds they call it, you know, the city of Birmingham got approximately $90 million more than the city of Mobile. And it's based on population, and our populations are not that far off, but we're not over 200,000. So let's just say $90 million, but let's just say we only got 50 million more. What would $50 million mean if we wanted to spend that in the area of affordable housing? Well, simple math would just tell you if a house costs $200,000, I'm speaking just of single family housing, if it's $200,000 and you could have 250 new houses located in areas where we need new housing. So as we have that conversation going forward about annexation, please keep in mind that the magic number is 200,000, and really we need to be over that. And if we have the will, we can be the largest city, as you said, in the state of Alabama, because for years we have invested and we have subsidized the growth in the police jurisdiction. And so my hope is that in the area of annexation, that the city council will give the citizens who want to be a part of this, give those individuals that live in the police jurisdiction an opportunity to join the city of Mobile when it comes up. But you know, one of the things that we learned during the last annexation conversation, a lot of it had to do with what were we doing in the area of attainable housing. Okay, and we've been using the word affordable housing, but really attainable housing is something that you need to recognize that from a conversation standpoint of what it is, and so the definition of that is if you have to spend more than 30% of your income on housing, then really it's not attainable, okay? And so we have a lack of the right housing product, and we also have the lack of housing in different stratas, you know, throughout the city. And so, again, going back to the MAWSS project, if you look at the MAWSS, the project that will be coming, and it'll be, again, the first development that we've done inside I-65, as I said earlier, in 2.5 decades. But that gives an opportunity for us to leverage off of that to do other projects like that, or housing developments like that. Because what we've done is, with the $58 million of ARPA funding that we did get, we've set $29 million aside, for housing. And so the idea is that in a lot of our older neighborhoods that have been in decline, that we can go into those neighborhoods with new housing or fix up the existing housing and breathe life back into them, because we can't just abandon those neighborhoods. We've got to do something to energize them. And so our solution to that is to take ARPA funding, to make that happen.
Okay, well, to grow the city, obviously, we have to have the housing base. We also have to have jobs, and to grow jobs. That's Hire Mobile. That's another one of your bullet points, Mayor. And talk about how the city is helping to encourage small business and grow jobs in the city.
Yeah. So, Pete, if you go back and think about what's happened in the economic development world, the Team Mobile, who teams up with Team Alabama, has done an amazing job. If you look at Austal, you look at over the decades of Austal, Airbus, TK. But Team Mobile is a collaboration between the Chamber of Commerce, the County Commission, the state docs, and depending on who else, could be USA Health. But we pull together whoever is needed, to help sell the idea of developing in the city of Mobile, or even in the county. The most recent one, which is an amazing project that's really probably under everybody's radar, is the South Alabama Logistics Park, SALP. And it's in the area, I'm going to say, off of I-10 in the Theodore area. Over 1,000 acres. They're moving dirt now. There hasn't been a project this big from a ground clearance standpoint since TK. So it's an amazing project. It's a logistics center. There won't be anything like it in the South as it's built out. And I say in the South, okay? And so if, at some point in time, I'm sure that you'll have an opportunity to go view what's going on, and I would suggest that, because in 10 years, there could be 10,000 jobs associated with that project, and it comes back to the collaborative effort between the county, the city, and all our Team Mobile partners and the state of Alabama. So, that's very exciting. But, it's not just about big business like Austal, Airbus, and so forth. It's about what are we doing to make it, to change the environment in the city of Mobile for small businesses. And we have had laser-like focus on trying to make it easier to engage with the city so that you can go through the process of getting business licenses, getting permits. And we recognize that we're not where we need to be, but we also have some things in the pipeline, some which we'll roll out very, very soon, which will make it easier, and we will continue to do that until, everybody is of the opinion, it's really easy to do business in the city of Mobile, and we're going to continue to, grow our businesses in the city, because really at the end of the day, it's about jobs and the job creation. So I think the future is very, very bright for that. Something I think that we all need to be aware of is that recently, in fact, it was this weekend, I think, that Austal, there was an announcement of building steel ships. But the coolest thing about it to me was that they're going to be buying the steel from SSAB. And that's what we need to do in the city, is help the businesses that are here, help each other instead of going outside the city when it works. And so we continue to encourage that kind of collaboration. We will continue working with the school system and the community colleges on the things that they can do to prepare the workforce, because today in the area of location of businesses look where the workforce is. And if there's a workforce there, a ready workforce, you will beat out the city that doesn't have that. So some of the creative things that have been done in the last year, we created, with the help of Bishop State, the Contractors College. The first class will be graduating real soon. The second class starts this spring. there's a carpenter's college, you know, because there's a huge lack of skilled workers right now. And so we will continue to do things that we've not done in the past, trying to tee up to make sure that Mobile has a ready workforce. And when I say that, we're building on a lot of things that previous administrations have done, but we've got to be creative and do new things to meet the existing demand. So that'd be where we are on economic development and job creation.
Okay, we need to move on and talk about Connect Mobile, which is your next thing we're talking about, Mayor, and you're talking about connecting us economically to the nation and to the world, and a lot of big things happening there.
Yes, so the first one that comes to mind really has to do with the airport. We've talked about moving the airport, and really, we're not moving the airport. We've got an airport at Brookley, but we've spent a lot of money down there in the last few years trying to prepare to move commercial flights there. Well, the next big hurdle is the terminal, building a terminal, probably a $250 million project. Very, very grateful to the previous city council that agreed to set aside $30 million of what's existing surplus funds to set the tone for other, hopefully other contributions by stakeholders to help be able to build that terminal. I believe as we're sitting here right now, they are down selecting who will be actually receive the bid for doing that. So it's game on as far as building a new terminal, but we do have to make sure that we've got the money lined up first before they actually turn dirt. And again, this is a huge project. And at the end of the day, what we really want to do and what we need to do is we need to build it with no debt. And the way that happens is through contributions from the city, the county, the state, and the federal government. And, we're all going to really miss Senator Shelby. But the hope is that in the near term that he'll be able to cobble some money together to help us achieve that goal, because it's going to be very important to build that terminal with no debt so that we can make sure that we are competitive with Pensacola. At the end of the day, we want more direct flights for the citizens, and we want cheaper fares, and that's one step to doing that. I think that from the city's perspective, if you think about the connection with the port, the airport, and the opportunity for maybe some work on I-10, it's just those three things they're multi-generational, transformative. So that's kind of where we are on the airport part of it. I will say this, I can't see all the way to the back, but by a show of hands, how many of y'all have had some kind of disruption because of road construction? Has anybody had anybody? Some of y'all aren't telling the truth because there's so much road construction going on right now. It's just unbelievable. And everybody needs to recognize, at least I say you don't need to recognize, I hope you would recognize that that's not just the city doing that. I mean, there is no way to do what's being done without our partners with the county, the PAYGO program, without the utilities, what MAWSS brings to the table, AT&T, Alabama Power Company. We all have to work together to make sure that we can do these projects, whether it's and state participation in Broad Street, the state participation in Ziegler Boulevard. But one of the things we have been recently having rebuilt Baltimore Street, just getting ready to start Texas Street, a complete street rebuild. This is going to be shocking to you when I'm getting ready to tell you. But it cost us $8.5 million a mile. $8.5 million a mile to rebuild these streets. And that's dumbfounding. I mean, I can remember as a child, we talked about building an interstate highway, $1 million a mile. And now we're talking about inner city. So you know that if we're going to continue doing this, which is, we've got to continue doing it, it's going to take a lot of focus and continuing to build the relationships and the partnerships of all of those who can bring money to the table.
Now quickly, Mayor, I want you to talk about Enjoy Mobile, which is your last plank of the platform, and really all these things are great about growing the city and jobs and all that, but we need the quality of life amenities, and you've made progress in that regard.
Yes, so for years we talked about Visit Mobile and what we're doing for visitors, but we really hadn't talked about what we're doing for Mobileans to enjoy Mobile, and that's really our focus right now, one of our focuses. And so I hope that you recognize through Roll Mobile, or the street party, of all the money that's being spent in the parks, the difference in programming that we have in the recreation areas. You know, it's all about things we're doing for Mobileans to enjoy Mobile, and you can bring your family and friends and visitors, you know, to help us do that. Pete, I see that we're running out of time, so I'd like to just close by saying a couple of things. One is that we are tremendously grateful for these partnerships with the county, with the utilities, with all of them, with the Governor Ivey. No governor has sent more money to the city of Mobile in recent decades than Governor Ivey. And what we have with our collaboration with the federal partners is unprecedented also, the amount of funding they're helping with the city of Mobile. But at the end of the day, if you look around and you think a lot of good things are going on, I hope that you'll stop and say, thank you, Lord, for what's going on, because really so much of it is an answer to prayer. Because I know that we had this many people in a room at the mayor's prayer breakfast the other morning. And so I know there are a lot of people praying, and so let's make sure we give God the glory for all that's going on. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Mayor Stimpson.
Thank you very much.
Sir, you want to leave the mic there? Appreciate the comments from Mayor Stimpson. We're going to move a little furniture here, and we'll speak with our county commissioners. I can tell you that when I did work for the county for a number of years, it was always very impressive to me to see the cooperation between the city and the county and also the chamber all working together to accomplish a lot of the big projects and some of the small projects around the city, with everyone on the same page and the goal for the betterment of the area. Now we're going to move on and talk about the state of the county, and I'd like to ask our three commissioners to come up. Our commissioners, of course, are Commissioner Merceria Ludgood, who represents District 1, which is approximately the northern part of the county. Commissioner Ludgood's been with the County Commission now for 14 years. Commissioner Connie Hudson, representing District 2, the central portion of Mobile County. Ms. Hudson has been with the county now for 11 years, and of course before that served many years on the Mobile City Council. And our new county commissioner, new in the last year or so, Randall Duiett, representing District 3, which is the southern part of Mobile County. So welcome our county commissioners. All right. Thank you so much, commissioners, and we're just kind of go down the line, find out a little bit what's going on countywide and in each of your districts as well. Merceria, we'll start with you. In recent months, we've seen a lot of announcement about programs involving Mobile County, and they're funded by a variety of sources. Many of those sources are external. Can you just talk about that a little bit and explain these various sources of money and how they're being put to good use?
So we have several. We have money from the Deepwater Horizon. We have money from GOMESA, which is Gulf of Mexico Energy Security. We have money from ARPA, money that comes from Community Development Block Grants, and all of those together have left us with enough money to do many of the things that have been on the drawing board, things that we've needed to do for people in Mobile County for a number of years. One of the most, when I look at it, I think at the things that we're able to do for individuals and then things that we're able to do for the community at large. And so in terms of individuals, we're able to help them with pandemic relief. We're able to, because of Rebuild Alabama, for example, we're able to do more roads than we were able to do before. And so that impacts everyone day to day driving around, taking care of whatever business it is that they have to do. But we also have an opportunity with these dollars to be forward thinking and to look at issues like resilience. We are able to do coastal restoration, all the things that scientists have been telling us for years that we need to do if we want to maintain our quality of life. Well, they were all good ideas, but we couldn't do them because the resources were not there. We were doing day-to-day, keeping county government running. This gives us an opportunity to step out and be more creative. And when we keep using the word transformational, but that's absolutely what it is. These are the kind of dollars that we have now can actually just change what the county looks like. Not only the county, but throughout our whole area. You're going to see differences in the city that you didn't have because of these kind of dollars. And so that's exciting. It presents some challenges because once we're able to get a lot of this done, then we got to maintain it. And this money has a deadline. Once it's gone, then at the same time, we've got to figure out on a parallel track, once we're able to build out this infrastructure, how we're going to be able to maintain it.
I'll ask Commissioner Hudson to talk about the American Rescue Plan. Commissioner Ludgood touched on that. Tell us what it is, how much money the county might be getting, and where you are in the process on how to use that money.
Certainly, Peter, and good morning, everyone. The American Rescue Plan Act, or otherwise known as ARPA, as the mayor noted, is a multi-year federal grant funding program primarily for cities and counties to help mitigate and address the negative impacts of the COVID-19 pandemic. I think there was a lot of areas across the country, cities and counties certainly, that had a lot of negative impacts, businesses, it's just almost endless the way that COVID ended up impacting so much of our daily lives and our business and economy. And so this money that the county will receive and our final appropriation will receive in May of next year will total $80.1 million. And this money has to be spent or obligated by the year 2026. And it has to be spent according to some pretty specific Treasury Department guidelines. And so we have hired a consultant through Volkert to come in and help us to be able to vet projects. And it was very important for us to be able to get input from the community engagement. So we developed an online portal so that and we asked the public to share ideas and thoughts and recommendations for projects and programs that would meet critical needs within the community. And so the community responded to that. And we have, at this point, and the portal is still open. We asked for priority projects through the month of August, but the portal does remain open. And we have, at this point, received over 200 applications that total about $400 million. And so the community was not shy about sharing thoughts and ideas, and that's a good thing. You know, there's so many needs. And we've seen requests all across the gamut, you know, from broadband to public safety to mental health to just water and sewer projects. So we've seen everything coming through the portal. And once they're vetted by Volkert, and we should have the first list sometime around the middle of this month, then the commission will be able to look at those and try to prioritize the projects that we feel will have the most impact, because you know when you've got $400 million in requests so far and $80 million, you really have to look strategically in where that money can have the best benefit for the community. And as Commissioner Ludgood said, be transformational, because this is a one-time appropriation of funding. And we want to be able to use it in a way that has the most benefit for the community. So we expect sometime after that first list comes to us to sit down and work together and try to reach consensus and start identifying the projects.
Tough decisions, but a good problem to have, right? All right, we'll ask Commissioner Duiett to discuss growth in the county. We see a lot of subdivisions popping up all over the place in the unincorporated areas. Can you tell us a little bit about what the county's doing related to development?
Yeah, so to tie your economic development in, you know, when you bring these jobs to Mobile, which thank you for the chamber and the sponsors today for putting this event on, you know, you want to have a place for these people to live. And you know, you hear a lot of times, well, I live in a different community because there's really not a lot of options in Mobile. Well, the last 2 years in Mobile County, we've had 2 years in a row that are record-breaking years for residential development. And most of that is shift to the west and to the south of Mobile County, which, back to what the mayor said, why that's important for annexation in those areas out there. But just a few numbers, in the last year, in the last 12 months, we've approved 147 preliminary plats and final plats for subdivisions, which equals up to around 2,000 residential lots in those areas in the southwest end of Mobile County. So that brings some challenges to Mobile County. 30 years ago, if you built a subdivision in Mobile County, you didn't think a whole lot about water and sewer. You used septic and well water. And we're all working very well with MAWSS, Mobile County Water and Sewer, the other utilities in our area, to make sure that the infrastructure and our engineering department and our pay-as-you-go program, to make sure that our infrastructure can support the economic development and the residential development in Mobile County.
What's so interesting about being a county commissioner, I would think, would be your districts and just the variety in your districts. You all have big agricultural areas. You all have inner city in your districts as well. And I know you've got a lot of things going on in each of your individual districts. So maybe we'll just take our remaining time and talk about that and tell us in District 1, Commissioner Ludgood, what are some of the things happening and what do you hope to see here over the next year?
So one thing that I meant to mention earlier, when we get those dollars in, they don't always go just in county administration. So for example, we've been able, through Deepwater Horizon projects, to do some sewer projects in Mount Vernon and in Satsuma, and we're looking at some others. So we also have some watershed development up on the north end, which is also a critical piece of that resilience work that we were talking about. But I guess some of the things that you're seeing and hearing a lot more about, things like the improvements that we're making in our parks, particularly in District 1 is Chickasaw Park. Chickasaw Park is very active. People have been using it for years. It's located in the city of Pritchard, but the investment we're making now, Chickasaw Park, is going to be really one of the crown jewels among parks in the county. We're adding a conference center. We're building out fields and walking trails. We're improving our RV sites, improving restroom facilities, and people have been going there when it was less attractive, and we know that they're just going to flock there now. The bottom line to our parks initiative is for people to understand that they don't have to go outside Mobile County to be able to enjoy nature. They can do it right here, and so we're making an investment consistent with that. We are also, along those same lines, the Mobile County Blueway Trail is under development. We've done the public information phase. We're now making some decisions. This we're also doing in collaboration with the Africatown Blueways Connection. Some of their sites are also sites that would have been on the trail. And so we're working together to build that out. I think that's going to be a collaboration that works well for all of us. And speaking of Africatown, there's a lot going on there. Clotilde, with the finding of the wreck, there's been a lot of interest in Clotilde, but the county strategy has been two-pronged. We want to really work with the people who live there and to do some of the things that need to be done in that to improve that community. Some of the things that the residents are saying, these are the things we need to preserve our community, while at the same time building out assets to attract tourism too. And so we're doing that with Visit Mobile. We are growing more and more our cultural heritage sector in our tourism. We have a representatives today with the MAWSS tribe of Choctaw Indians who are also doing work at the tribe. So we have a deep cultural heritage in Mobile, and we're trying to build on it.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Ludgood. Connie, what's going on in District 2? I know there's a lot.
You know, planning and executing projects is by far my favorite part of this job. I love it. And as Commissioner Ludgood mentioned, there's a lot of exciting things and that we are all involved with right now. And they have a lot to do with recreational amenities, waterfront access, because I think these are the things that really do meet a need with our own citizens, and not only bring in visitors and tourists, but meet the needs of our own citizens. And so that is a huge focus for the County Commission right now. The soccer complex, which is located off Halls Mill Road, is a work in progress still. It is a pay-as-you-go type of project. We have completed phase 1 of that, which is 3 lighted fields and a parking lot and the road work and infrastructure that goes along with all of that. And just with 3 fields, it has been tremendously successful. We have, the soccer community it's receiving heavy use from the soccer community, from lacrosse teams, and also we had Azalea City, the first Azalea City Ultimate Frisbee tournament out there, and that brought in people from 5 states. Some weekends we've seen as many as 1,500 people come in as spectators and participants. So, you know, and that's with 3 fields. So we're continuing to work on that. We've got phase 2 that will begin probably in the summer of next year. There's a lot of infrastructure work that's got to take place before the construction actually begins. And that will be our championship field with our bleachers that will seat approximately 1,400 spectators. Have locker rooms, restrooms. We'll have 2 additional parking lots and more infrastructure. We'll have a restroom facility, a standalone restroom facility, and then we'll continue moving forward. You know, we're designing all the time, so we'll have 5 more fields to go after the 2 that will be built in phase 2. So just a lot of activity, and it's all exciting. We did purchase an additional 64 acres that is adjacent to the entry road off of Halls Mill Road. And the vision was a decade ago when this master plan idea first came into being was to have an aquatic center. And so that we see that property, part of that property, will be home to the aquatic center. It's an indoor aquatic center for recreational and competitive swimming, and the City of Mobile Swim Association has been very, very involved with that. It's in the design process now. We have, the aquatic center is under design. We also, on our next agenda, will approve a feasibility study for an outdoor water park on the remainder of that property. And I see that as potentially a public-private partnership, and I know already there has been interest along those lines, and the Chamber's been very helpful in helping set up some of those meetings, and I'm grateful for that. So a lot going on there. Another exciting project is the Escatapa Hollow Park and Campground project that we purchased. We purchased the property back in 2019. It was 45 acres. And we have added to that through additional land acquisitions, and it will be about a 200-acre park when we finish. We've doubled the waterfront on the Escatapa River, and we'll add additional campsites. It's undergoing a renovation now. Phase 1 will be complete in March of next year, which is day use RV park facility. Phase 2 will be we'll have a welcome center with a grill and cafe and an interpretive center with information about Blackwater River systems and the local flora and fauna. And eventually, on the additional property, we'll have other recreational amenities and more campsites, maybe a novelty treehouse cabin or 2. Anyway, there's a lot of ideas, a lot of thoughts and planning in that, and I don't have time today, but I would say if you're interested in keeping up with what's happening with these projects, please go to mobilecountyal.gov. You can go to District 2 page and link to the newsletter and subscribe, and I provide regular updates on what's happening.
All right, thanks so much. Commissioner Duiett, talk about your district, District 3. You've got, of course, such beautiful access to the water. I know you're trying to improve that for recreation and also for preservation.
Yeah, so, I'm excited to talk about some of the projects that I had taken over for Congressman Carl when he held this commission seat. And one of those is a renovation of the Bayfront Park and the restoration of the Dauphin Island Causeway. And then a project that I pulled into this, I found out recently, a couple months ago, that the McRae family was interested in selling the Cedar Point Pier. They were getting up in age and ready to retire, and I thought what a great opportunity for the county to acquire the Cedar Point Pier so that it could be there and accessible for years to come, and so we're working in the process right now of making that acquisition in the next couple of weeks, I hope. And it'll tie right in with Bayfront Park, which is a $6.5 million renovation of that park that's all being paid for with grant money. And back to Cedar Point, which is also being paid for with grant money from the state Go Mesa funding. And so then you have a NIFWIF $30+ million restoration project. And I get really excited about restoration projects. Being a fisherman and preserving our natural resources, this is going to create a 3-mile stretch of new land at the Dauphin Island Causeway, which will go in to protect our interior marshes there. So I'm really excited about restoration projects and those projects down there. And all three of those tie in basically from the foot of 188, Highway 188, on Dauphin Island Parkway, all the way down the causeway to the Cedar Point Pier, which what I like to call the playground of Mobile is Dauphin Island. So it's going to be doing a whole lot to improve that area on your way to Dauphin Island. And and then, if you move back up, that's in the south end of Mobile County, and that's, some plans for some boat ramps and some other activity in that area. Whether you like to admit it or not, Baldwin County is our competitors, and when you look at access points to the water in Baldwin County, they have 3 times more access points to the water than we do, and I think we could do a better job of giving people access to the water. And so I'll move back up towards the other end of my district, and we'll talk about the West Mobile County Park located on Leroy Stevens Road. We're about to start a renovation project there that's going to include new playground, new splash pad. We acquired some property just to the north that's connected to the property that we're intending hopefully pretty soon to start working on putting in a disc golf course there, a full 18-hole disc golf course. And we're also going to be shifting the operations there and hopefully involve more youth sports in that area. Right now we have soccer, football, softball, and so we'd like to expand that to youth baseball as well. So we're looking at that in the future at West Mobile County Park. And the other thing, I'm out of time, but I do want to talk about future of boat ramps. Our schools are it's all of our responsibilities to make sure, and I've made it a point to tour most of the schools in my district in the year that I've been in office, and it's all of our responsibilities to make sure that our schools are thriving and surviving. It's not just the responsibility of the school board. And then, of course, I'm out of time, but I'm going to mention the Linksman Golf Course. I hope that pretty soon we will be approving a feasibility study that was just completed and acquiring that property and renovating that golf course and open up a golf course. And all of these things are really tie back into a quality of life for the people who live in Mobile.
Peter, before we exit today, we get to sit up here and take credit for all these great things happening, but I really want to recognize the people on our county staff, our administration, and all of our employees who are here today, because we could not do anything that we do without these wonderful people that we have working with us. Because if they will please stand.
I think their table's back there in the middle and off to the side here. All right, well, thank you so much, commissioners. It's been really interesting learning about all the different things taking place all across the county. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you again, everyone, for being here this morning. It is absolutely no accident. It's a blessing that we have such great elected officials. They have dedicated themselves. They have put our citizens and our county, our city, first ahead of many of their own personal agendas. They have worked well together. We just recently, as a chamber, made a trip to the city of Charleston on a leadership trip, and one of the things that is so evident when our group is together is the ability to work together as one team, Team Mobile, that really just does some great things for our city and our county. So let's just thank all of our elected officials one more time before we bring this thing to a close this morning. Thanks to each of you. I want to ask one last thing before we dismiss. We mentioned our sponsors, but we've had all of our city and county folks stand. If you're one of our sponsors this morning, would you just stand where you are at your table this morning? Quite a number of you. Thank you so much. Well, guys, until we have a chance to do this again next year, thank you for being here. Thank you for your participation. We are adjourned.